Hello. So this is outside of my normal streams because this is an important discussion to have for me for obvious reasons. So this is going to be me trying to be as just as diplomatic and as intellectual with things and not emotional as I can be. So we're going to take this systematically to explain first a bit about Tourette's for a lot of people who you eat penis have been saying a lot of very false things about the medical condition, about the things about it, and the information on it. So, and hello to Phoenix, and we're going to try to just make this a little more clear to anybody who may stumble upon this video why there's some serious issues with the aftermath of this and what's been done. And this will be try to be approached with as much compassion to all sides as can be done. So I'm going to start with a basic overview of Tourette's from Mayo Clinic for those who aren't as familiar with it, because the amount of misinformation is still painstakingly, wow, my boobs are huge, is still amazing because so many people still seem to conflate Tourette's tics with drunk thoughts or autistic meltdown or something. Things where what you yell, what you rant, what you say is still a reflection of what's in here and what you're thinking. Wow, what you're thinking. And with Tourette's, it's not. It's absolutely involuntary, but it's also not a reflection of what's actually in here. In fact, it's more the opposite. So I'll start. Sorry, I've been quite sick for weeks. That's why I haven't really been on. So that's going to have some effect on this. But let's start with this. This is an overview from Mayo Clinic's website on Tourette's. See, with Tourette's disorder, it involves repetitive movements and unwanted sounds that can't be easily controlled. For some people, suppression is okay, can work. Some people it can't. Suppression always comes at a cost, though. It causes strain physically to the nerves, the body, to the up your anus. It causes so much stress. It causes so much psychological issues. It causes so much pain that it's systematic, and suppression only works for some, and even when it does work, it is not healthy. Welcome, Daniel. So with the symptoms here, let's explain first of all the classifications, because simple tics are like a basic. They're not coordinated patterns. They're not like movements and stuff. It's more like a click, a pop, a little spasm movement of the hand, stuff like that. Simple tics. Whereas complex tics are the distinctive coordinated patterns of movements, sentences, several muscles functioning together, all that kind of stuff. And so a little bit of understanding between simple, common motor tics seen in Tourette syndrome, simple to complex. Simple tics include things like eye blinking, head jerking, shoulders shrugging, eye darting, nose twitching, mouth movements, and echopraxia and echolalia. Play up when I'm trying to read this stuff. Oh, just instantly block anybody who says shit like that in chat. I don't fucking care. You're not going to lie. You're not going to do eat a dick, bitch. You're not going to spread that shit. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be ableist in my chat ever, under any circumstances. And if that bothers you, I don't really fucking care what you think. There's a difference between tics and saying it intentionally. My tics may say a million things that I don't mean. But when I sit here and say, eat a bag of dicks and fuck off with that shit, I mean it entirely. Okay? So, bye. Thank you, Phoenix. So that's it. That's all on that one. Fuck cool. And mouth movements. Complex tics and yeah, touching, smelling, repeated observed movements, stepping in certain patterns, obscene gestures, bending, twisting, hopping, common vocal tics seen in Tourette's for simple. Fuck you. You're a slut. Simple tics include things like grunting, coughing, throat clearing, barking, or in my case, meowing. Fucker. Complex tics, repeating one's own words or phrases, repeating others' words or phrases, using vulgar, obscene, or swear words. Complex phrasing. Wow. It's just. In addition, tics can vary in type, frequency, severity. And in fact, that's even in the same person. Our tics can be really strong some days and almost non-existent other days. And we don't have any clue which day we're going to have until we're in it. They can get worse if we're ill, stressed, anxious, tired, excited, overwhelmed. My case, they get worse if I'm low blood sugar or I'm around a lot of people. They can get worse in teenage years and improve in adulthood, or they can get worse when you hit middle age and your hormones change. Before the onset of motor or focal tics, there's a likeliness of experiencing uncomfortable body sensation, motionary urge, such as itch, tingling, tension. Expression of the tic brings relief with great effort. Some people with Tourette's can temporarily stop or hold back a tic. However, they know that this causes nerve stress, nerve damage, can cause pain, and all kinds of other issues. And you're such a twat. Fuck you. When you suppress, it builds up. So if you're suppressing for more than a few minutes, if you're suppressing for long events, then it just builds and it builds and it builds. And after a while, it's like either a dam breaking or it starts causing physical issues. So let's see. Complications. This is a simple overlay of this, but there's much more to this. And quacking. I don't know anyone who does, but I'm sure it happens. I mean, we're rare. It's more like the fact that if you say itch on my nose, now I'm twitching my nose and I can't help it. I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from being sick. Conditions often associated with Tourette's include ADHD, OCD, autism, learning disabilities, sleep disorders, depression, anxiety disorders, pain related to tics, especially headaches, anger management problems. I tell people, hi, wise guy. When I tell people that it's painful, and people make these comments or these posts where they're literally making fun of it or going, ooh, I wish I had it. I could say whatever the fuck I want. No, you don't. The verbal tics is a small part of it. And that part alone is humiliating. It's mind-numbing. And welcome crouching. It's stressful. It causes fear, anxiety, other stuff. It makes us afraid to be public. Wow. You're a twat. Paku. And so it's literally traumatic. So when we're ticking, when we're having these kinds of days, and I used to hide on high tick days, always. I would lock myself up most of the time. I would hide. I wouldn't stream if I was at high risk of ticks. I wouldn't. I would be constantly going off air, off camera. I would be constantly trying to hide it. And it was extremely physically stress-inducing and tiring. And it was still having weird things blurted out, weird things said, weird things affecting how I interact with people. And it was genuinely hindering my life. Wow, my boobs are huge. And so I had this constant state of, I don't want to upset somebody, want to offend somebody. I've been assaulted. I have been chased out of stores. I've had harassment cases against me. I've had all these things done because of something said in a tick. I spent 6 years ticking the slur that was most commonly used against me as a child when I was abused and harassed and assaulted and stuff. When I went through truly horrific things as a child, this was the slur most people said. And I spent 6 years ticking it. So when people talk about, well, wow, it's just your inner thoughts. No, it's not. It's in order for a tick to iterate, in order for ticks and tick iteration to occur, all it takes is hearing something once or seeing something once. It can imprint, it can create, or just you say something or try to do something, and a completely contrary, obtrusive thought about that thing imprints on you. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no logic. There's no function. It does not correlate to the firings of the thought processes in our brain. It does not correlate to what we actually think. And it actually can leave us feeling extremely hijacked and, wow, you eat penis. And it can make us feel overwhelmed at the world. It can make us feel like a slut, you fuck. Wow. Say what? Say what? Stick a penis in your butt. It can make us feel like we're not in control of who we are. Like we're being hijacked by an entity that's that's contrary to our personal beliefs. Ow. Yeah, punching a necklace isn't good. Ow. Fuck you. You feel hijacked by a contrary state of being, a contrary creature. And this creature is the polar opposite of you, socially, politically, spiritually, theologically, racially. Everything you would never say is what the part of you that's being taken by coprolalia will say vocally. And coprolalia is an interesting situation. So now let's get into coprolalia versus other forms of tics. This one's a little more. I don't know if I can say this word through my tics. Like this. So, understanding coprophenomena. Not quite close enough. I don't need their support for this. Let's not. I don't need your little bubble. I don't. Wow. I'm a little low blood sugar today, Phoenix. That's all. So it's tick, 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 tick. Wow. You eat penis. What are coprolalia and copraxia? Coprolalia is the medical term used to describe one of the most puzzling and social stigmatizing symptoms of Tourette syndrome. The involuntary outburst of penis juice, you slut, of obscene words, socially inappropriate bitches, wow, and derogatory remarks. Other examples may include references to genitalias, penis juice, excrement, and sexual acts. I think we've kind of covered that topic tonight with me. He's working on it. He's working on it. Ow, 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 ow. Although coprolalia is the most widely known symptom of Tourette's, the majority of patients do not experience this feature. Lucky me, I do. So, it is most often expressed as a single word, but may involve phrases or sentences. There is no way to predict who will develop coprolalia. Copopraxia, you're a slut, is a related complex motor tic symptom involving obscene gestures, such as gestures representing obscene words or with genital references. Like other tics, the root of this symptom is physical. That is, there is a neurological bias to coprolalia and copraxia. By the way, this is the Tourette's Association of America. This is legitimate. And I'm I'll have food soon, and I'm not that low yet. There's a neurological basis to coprolalia and copopraxia. Fortunately, only a minority of individuals with Tourette syndrome experience coprophenomenal, coprolalia and praxia. However, for those with coprolalia who are trying to deal with the world in public places, schools, or at home or work, just getting through the day can be excruciatingly difficult. Wow, that's towers, you slut. How phenomena is manifested. While obscenities and profanities may be common in everyday conversation in our culture, coprolalia is different from simply swearing or using bad language. Usually these vocal tics, I'm not sorry, you're a slut. Usually these vocal tics are not uttered within social or emotional contexts and often are spoken or repeated compulsively in a louder tone or different cadence or pitch than normal conversational speech. Wow. Particularly embarrassingly for some individuals with coprolalia, our involuntary outbursts was social within. Wow, let's just up your anus. Within social contexts, such as racial or ethnic slurs in the company of the very people who would be most offended by such remarks. This is the part that we have to stop on right now. It isn't that those thoughts are in our head, but we are more likely to tick something topical when you have coprolalia. So if you have coprolalia and you're very much against, that's just sexually stigmatizing people who are more sexually active, you're more likely to tick words like or other stuff at innocent people. if something about them makes you think of sexuality. You're more likely to tick a slur at somebody who is the ethnicity of that slur or the gender of that slur. You're more likely to, wow, you eat penis. Bitch mode activated. Fuck. You're more likely to eat a dick. Slut. You're more likely to tick the words when they would offend somebody than when they wouldn't. So that means that iteration that's more prevalent. The more it would offend somebody, the more it would cause issues. And that's a prevalent part of it. Bob, talk for a minute. I got to deal with my husband.
Which kind of brings us to the BAFTA Awards last night. And why, I'm blanking the guy's name, but why he shouted out what he shouted out, when he shouted it out. Because think of it like this. There's a part of our brain that is basically a very dark and twisted comedy writer. And Tourette's kind of unleashes that. Whereas most of us see a filter, the Tourette sees it as a challenge. What's the most offensive thing that can be said right now? We all got that in the back of the head. What would blow things up? I'll do that. And
it's not even so much in the head. And this is where it's hard for people who don't have it to quite understand. Part of his analog is correct, and part of it isn't, because
it's neurological. Everything's in the head. So, yeah.
Fucking idiot. Because part
I'll
of it's
go back to shopping now.
Part of it's also muscle memory. So things burn into literally the memory of your nerves and your muscle throughout your body. It's not just here, but it's also it's also reflective. It's also instinctive, not because you're thinking it, but because you're not. We are more likely to tick something that offends us because it burns into our brain and our memory than tick something that we agree with. So it's literally our ticks are a polar opposite to us usually. Which is why, fuck you. My ticks randomly just tell people, I'm not sorry. I'm never sorry. You're a slut. Things like that, because I have my whole life been this person who was always really contrite inside, really self-depreciating, really low self-esteem, always constantly fuck you, always apologizing for everything I did, always really fucker. Really I've really always been that person who wanted to make everybody happy, even at the expense of my own comfort. And so my ticks are complete contrarian to that. My ticks just want to fucking burn the world down. And I hate them. And I hate them so much some days. But it's what you eat penis. I think right now it's mostly the blood sugar, which he's mostly done cooking, so that should come down. If I get under 100 in blood sugar, I tick more. But if I go over 100, it's not a healthy blood sugar. So I kind of try to skirt this line between 90 and 110, where it's minimal on both sides. But basically, when we were setting up the stream, I was at 80, which means he's got time to cook, but it's getting low. So... So it is crucial to understand that these words or complex phrases do not necessarily reflect the thoughts, beliefs, or opinions of the person with coprolalia. Right there. Some phrases can be quite complex, often meaningless, Like your anus. Wow. And even comical. One yet. One man with. Mm-hmm. You're a slut. One young man with Tourette's has been known to shout, "Help me, my underwear's on fire," while some people with Tourette's do not actually say the inappropriate words out loud, but may repeat them mentally. Although not socially apparent, these individuals find their subvocal coprolalia distressing. God, yes. Fuck, it is extremely stressful. The words are usually expressed in a person's native language, but it is not uncommon for somebody with Tourette's to swear in a language he or she has learned. It's also not uncommon for us to pick up tics by sound alone in other languages we don't even speak. And so we could be saying something really nice or really horrible. We have no idea. Our tics just thought, wow, you're a slut. Just thought that it sounded good, and so it picked it up and made it a permanent piece of us. And that's another. What causes phenomena? Most commonly accepted explanation of what causes coprolalia involves the same faulty wiring of the mechanism of the brain that causes involuntary movements that typify Tourette syndrome. It seems that the innate ability we all have to suppress unwanted movements and unconscious thoughts is somehow impaired in people with Tourette's. God, is it fucking ever? Fuck cool. Focus eyes, pedal more. Focus eyes, pedal more. Focus eyes, pedal more. Fuck cool. Focus eyes, pedal more. It seems that the innate ability we all have to suppress unwanted movements and unconscious thoughts is somehow impaired in people with Tourette syndrome. This is people with Tourette syndrome must satisfy the overwhelming urge to twitch, so they must let out sounds and words that build up and must be expressed before momentary relief can be felt. Depending on the symptom severity, the pressure to express those symptoms will reoccur because the irresistible, unbearable urge to twitch, curse, or shout cannot be inhibited indefinitely. So if we're in a place where we're going to be there for more than a few minutes, we can only suppress so long before things are just going to come out like a flood in a fucking broken dam. It will come out. And when it does, it will be stunning. Penis juice. The particular manifestation of such language may have to deal with the individual's stronger emotional content in certain parts of the brain. Such symptoms have been seen in individuals following stroke or other brain injuries to the deep frontal regions of the brain. As with all with all tics, increased symptoms. It's not a tick, you slut. Increased symptoms may occur with heightened emotional stress, pleasant excitement, or even fatigue. The emotional state does not cause the tic symptoms, but rather may increase them. Of note, the words that may be expressed in coprolalia are often distressing to an individual and not indicative of their personal convictions, such as in context of racial slurs. In many individuals, coprolalia is not able to be controlled. And I'm pointing at the wrong direction because that's where my screen is. I'm fucking using for this, but it's screen shared on this side, so ignore that part. That just because we tick a slur does not mean we feel it or agree with it. This is where I'm really tired of people who don't understand. Keep saying that, well, you're doing this. Well, it's because of this. Well, because of this. No, and also no. I am sure this whole stream is going to be demonetized because my fucking ticks right now, which is another thing people don't realize. When we're doing this, when people with this condition stream or share videos, other stuff, we almost never get monetized because our ticks offend people or offend the algorithms. And so basically, we don't make money off of this, even though we are already disabled and have trouble working normal jobs. So we don't get much out of this. It's not beneficial. We really aren't. We lose so much more than we can ever gain. How do people cope? Treatment for tick may also show benefit in improving. Not gonna say it. Okay, we're gonna skip that. In some individuals, such treatments include behavioral therapy and medications. This gets so confused by people. So they assume that because it's behavioral therapy, it's a behavior. Those two are not actually correlated. Behavioral therapy just means that you're training your body and your nerves to do certain things. It does not mean that you're dealing with you having a specific behavior, as Tourette's is not a behavior, it's an involuntary muscle movement, similar to Parkinson's or seizures. So that word trips a lot of people up and they misuse it a lot. And so, yeah. Just because there's a behavioral therapy does not mean that it's actually a behavior. In addition, some people with coprolalia have giant tits. Fucker. Have discovered ingenious ways to hide or mask their outbursts when they are out in social or work situations. They might utter only the first letters of a 4-letter word, e.g., shithead, fuck cool. Others may quietly mumble the unacceptable word or cover their mouths to muffle the obscenities. Covering the mouth is the only one that's ever worked for me, and that still only kind of works. It doesn't work a lot for a lot of people. These masking techniques help to relieve the irrepressible urge to let out the involuntary symptoms, while at the same time mute the unacceptable and disruptive outbursts. Often the ability to substitute the obscenity with another word is limited because a major change in the sound leaves the underlying urge unsatisfied. One way to understand this is to imagine that one has a cold, but that is socially unacceptable to sneeze in public and may be possible to cough instead of sneeze. But the urge to sneeze persists and eventually the sneeze escapes. Children may also have coprolalia because they are less socially sophisticated. Youngsters may not even try to be able to mask or hide their outbursts. Severely affected adults will continually vocal tics, may not be able to suppress or mask these symptoms. Fortunately, some have no warning when coprolalia is about to occur. Summary is that coprolalia is among the most difficult symptoms that a minority of individuals with Tourette syndrome must endure. The public often views these behaviors as either strange or offensive, hostile. However, the presence of coprolalia symptoms is not related to one's intelligence or character. Okay. There are people with coprolalia who develop an exceptional ability to cope with Tourette syndrome and its ramifications. Understanding the acceptance of symptoms of Tourette syndrome, including coprolalia, is a key element in helping people with Tourette's lead full and productive lives. There's a lot to that too, Uncle, but basically, we can't fucking help it. And this is why so many people need to try to understand. Also understand that in the UK and in parts of the specialists dealing with Tourette's in the US, we are not taught to try to mask or apologize because there are medical side effects caused by that. So what this site says, what the US site says to do, is considered bad science for Tourette's to the rest of the globe. You are not supposed to try to mask your symptoms as it causes problems. It can cause nerve pain. It can cause worse tics. It can cause muscle tears. It can cause other stuff. Masking is not healthy. It's also suppressing and masking are two different parts of it. Masking just means you're trying to alter it enough to get away with it. Suppressing means you're trying to withhold it fully. Neither is healthy, but they have different connotations on what they do to us medically. And my boobs are huge. And so we have to fight this balance in this middle ground where it comes into play. We're also taught by a lot of these places never to apologize for them, as issues like SH, as people would say on here, because YouTube is a bitch, although I'm probably already demonetized already. Things that we do to ourselves, both temporary and permanently, are increased by internalizing the blame and the shame for the tics. Constant apologies internalizes the blame and makes us question if we really mean these things, what we're really doing, and other stuff, and can cause everything from harming to addiction to even deletion. So it's not even just that if we're constantly apologizing for your tiny penis, you fucker. We're constantly apologizing for every tic. Then we're apologizing all day. I'm not sorry. But it's also because if we're apologizing all the time, there's an amount of psychological blowback to that where we're internalizing what was said and putting blame on ourselves, which is when we convince ourselves that we did it, that we want to say it, that all these horrible things that are not true, but are extremely harmful to people with Tourette's. So it's so complicated. And that's why I tell people, you've got to look at the entire situation. And it's not as simple as just as doing this little bit of things here or this little bit of thing here. When we're ticking, we don't have this control or balance. We don't have this ability to just go past it that easily. It's a part of us. It's embedded in us. It becomes what we do. And that's how it's going to maintain and continue. And so it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all to internalize this or blame yourself, because it does create a self-hatred loop that's extremely toxic to us. It does create this part it's just this part of us that builds up this. It's not that simple. It's never that simple. And that doesn't mean that we do not feel yes, by the way, Phoenix. It doesn't mean we shouldn't feel for the people who are experiencing it, running into it, or other stuff, because we absolutely should. But it does mean that if we internalize too much, it's going to do harm. One sec here. Bob, talk for a minute.
Okay, but the good ticks we copy down for the Cards Against Humanity deck we're building. But for the most part, for the most part tonight we're hearing a lot of greatest hits though. Nothing, not a lot new. Like I said, really, most part, it's like there is no real control. Okay, there's something was made abundantly clear at the BAFTAs. It's like they were warned ahead of time. We've got someone in the audience here. His film's up for word, but he has Tourette, and you will hear things throughout the night. He has no control over them. This is not what he means. This is not in his heart. He has no control. It's just going to blurt out. So if you're offended, sorry, but that's And again, this is a part of the brand starts, for whatever the situation is. And he was shouting stuff throughout the night. It wasn't just at one time where just, two black guys on stage. What's the worst thing you're going to do? Shout at the N-word, And the whole thing about, it was in his heart. No, we all know the word, okay? Doesn't mean we use it regularly, but they weren't afraid to even actually say the word. It used to be we get to say it as an example of he said this, But and also something that was brought up on Midnight's Edge. Andre did a video on this, but that has to go a different thing. How the BBC are a bunch of idiots, because there was over an hour delay. I think it was 2 hours between the time they taped it and the time they broadcasted it. They did cut out other things. They kept the N-word in. And again, it wasn't like a 7-second delay where they missed it. No, they had plenty of time to go through that entire show and snip things. And all the edits were for time. Oh, so you just left that in there because it kept the thing running. Sure it did, yeah. The BBC is not exactly covering themselves in glory lately. They have deleted it since. But it was up for a very long time on iPlayer. So
he was promised that they would keep him in back away from mics and that they would edit out all the offensive ticks so nobody would have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And they lied to him.
Now he was there because his movie about his life was up for, several BAFTAs. In fact, the guy who played him in the movie won for Best Actor. Yeah, that's the thing. He did eventually have to remove himself from the, Again, part of the factor of this is how stimulated the person in question is. This is why Rosetta doesn't go out like to conventions. It's just too overwhelming. This guy, he was, he's up for awards, but otherwise he wouldn't be there. Okay, because it's too overstimulating and things like this happen. He did eventually have to leave, and he did reach out to apologize to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan later. We don't know if it was in person, probably in writing, or through a intermediary, because I think in person.
And honestly,
let's just say Delroy Lindo, he was like, you just say what I thought he said, and then Michael B. Jordan was like, okay, it happened. We were warned. Let's move on.
And honestly, I'm gonna say this as sweetly as I can.
Mm-hmm.
He told everybody that this stuff could happen. He warned everybody ahead of time. Yes, he's apologized, and that was his choice. The public needs to stop demanding people apologize for something involuntary.
No,
because it's never going to be good enough to them.
Yeah, mostly overseas. He has been getting support. No, he has a disability. He can't control it. Lay off. They've been, around for it. It's certain personages on this side of the pond that have been going ballistic, clutching the pearls, and oh my God, how the horrible thing to say. How could he say that? Because he has no fucking control. Did you not pay attention?
It is a horrible thing to say. Did you miss
the fucking menu, Grace? Come on.
It's absolutely a horrible thing to say, but he didn't choose to say it.
His Tourette's chose to say it because it was the most horrible thing to say.
As I eat to calm down my blood sugar and my tics, think about the way I've been sounding tonight, trying to politely Fuck, read a simple prompter.
Mm-hmm. Because Tiki's been in fine form tonight. Yeah.
It is calming down because I'm not in bright lights. I'm not in a crowd. I'm not in anything that would normally stimulate me. I'm in my private little art room designed to minimize my face. Wow, buckle.
And moderately agitated over the subject, so that's got to be a subject.
Moderately.
By the way, I found your Death and Return of Superman book omnibus for $84.95 with $10 shipping.
Yeah, I need to do that as I sell more jewelry.
Yeah, it's in my watch list. That's the cheapest one around there. The rest of them are like $200.
Thank you, Phoenix. And this, Matthew, he didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't intentional. He still apologized, and they're still clamoring for his blood.
Yeah.
I've always been that person that I apologize like 50, 60 times in an hour because of my tics. Fuck, I'm not that person anymore. What this week has shown me is that I really don't give a fucking hell what anybody thinks of my tics. The apologies aren't good enough for them anyway, so fuck them.
Well, yeah, a lot of people have been very understanding. The who actually understand have some understanding of what's going on, who are paying attention when they warn them he has no control over it. So don't take it personally. They were told before the broadcast started. They were told after the incident. Alan Cummings, look, he has Tourette's. He has no control over it. He does not mean anything as me shouting out. If you're offended, sorry. But and my advice to the people who can't get over it is read up on the subject and learn to grow a fucking sense of humor. Because let's be honest, on a certain level, it was fucking hilarious. Okay, let's be honest here. And that's why I think they're really offended.
That's your problem with that.
Well, I think a lot of people are so offended because they're afraid to admit, yeah, it was pretty fucking funny that happened at that moment with those people. Okay, that's the nature of humor. It's supposed to be offensive on some level. If it's not offensive to somebody, it's not humor.
Phoenix, we can talk a little more about the difference in autism and Tourette's later, but there is some overlap because people who are autistic are blamed often for meltdown from actual sensory pain and stuff like that. But there's definitely a difference in what it actually does and how it reacts too. I wish we had better understanding of Tourette's over here, because I can tell you, just in this last few months, I've had people sit there and literally cheer their kids on while they're pointing and laughing at me. I've had people sit there and record videos of me laughing and joking with each other in front of me, and they were in their fucking 50s at least.
Yeah.
And I've seen so much intolerance over the years, and it's really exhausting. And I spent the whole week speaking out and defending people and telling them, you will not say anti-Black stuff. You will not attack the community. You will not do all this. And yet every time I've turned around and said this stuff, I've been met with racism, ableism, sexism, death threats. Fuck you. If you're going to do this when I'm defending you, then you're not going to make me want to defend you.
And if you're going to put out that, don't say this, that's just waving a red flag. Oh, really? Give me a chance, asshole. That's what Tiki's going in the background there. Oh, okay,
but also going to tell people that for all these people who say that they're so offended because it was a slur, I have seen so many Black content creators, Black artists, Black people on social media literally spammed with thousands of comments with racial slurs and racial memes calling them slurs for daring to not attack him. How is that okay? You're mad at him for an involuntary slur, but you're openly calling people these slurs and worse because you're offended at their opinion.
The usual retort is, this is what you guys call each other on a regular basis. Okay. So we discuss what NWA stands for?
Let's not go there.
No,
I told you, you're getting too far in the political side of this. I told you we're not doing.
That's still a cultural thing.
Because I don't. No, you're getting to the other, and I'm not going there. Right. This is the thing. I don't want to fight. I'm all about unity. But every fucking person who goes, well, you're just white. No, I've got a documented albinism. Well, you just don't understand bigotry. I have literally been the victim of it many, many times. Well, you don't understand the heart. I take the slur that was used on me for 6 years.
My family is from the South. I know it from the inside, asshole. Okay, my family fought for the Confederacy. Don't tell me I don't know it. I can recite it. Okay, I can tell you chapter and verse about it.
The thing is, until we learn, A, we can't blame people for the acts of their ancestors. We can't blame people for how they're born. We can only blame them for how they treat people. And how they treat people does not include involuntary ticks either, because we don't choose these. We don't say these things because we're trying to be offensive. We say these things because we're deeply concentrating on not being offensive, and our brain builds up and bursts. And did nobody learn a fucking thing about the controversy with Sweet Anita years ago? Canceling people for ticking that word does not last well.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I find it greatly ironic they tried to do that to her, considering the fact that her father is black. And that's how she learned the word.
Yeah, I think, if anything, this incident might actually get that film over here.
Yeah, I'm having trouble finding a good place to watch it over here.
Yeah,
honestly.
for anyone, the movie is called I Swear. Yeah.
I want to see it so bad, because this reality, the reality that I spent a large portion of my life hiding myself from the world because I was scared of how people would react. The reality that I've been assaulted for it. The reality that this sucks every level. My boobs are huge.
It's probably not on home video just yet, but I will be hitting streaming soon. It was not.
I want to see this. I want to understand more people with my condition, because I've been very, very. I've been very alone dealing with a lot of this. I don't have people around me that have this condition. I don't have people around me who understand it much.
After we're done, I can pick up an episode of
alone dealing with this.
Stephen Fry did a documentary miniseries called Planet Word, and on the one episode dealing with obscenity, he does talk with a gal with Tourette's, and she's basically turned into a superhero type thing. Goes around to schools trying to explain what happened, and if someone in your class is doing this, they're not being mean. It's it's a condition. And she does pretty good. So we talked about it more.
Look at the fact that this is a very small channel, very small stream. We've already had to ban and mute people who literally came in here saying shit about Tourette's and say we're making excuses, or the fetishized comments. Is she giving us good ticks yet? Fuck you. Bitch mode activated.
Yeah, like I said, the good ones we copied down for the Cards Against Humanity game. The rest of them, it's like nothing really new here tonight.
The fact that people are even asking that in a serious conversation, though, that's fetishization. That's I want to make fun and light and sexual gratification out of this whole thing. That is despicable. Let's make this fully clear. If you're the kind of person come hard, wow, coming into the chat and saying that stuff, then you're disgusting. Yeah, I are you on my threads? Send me stuff there. Netflix won't do me any good. I refuse to give them money. I hate Netflix with a passion for a lot of reasons. The biggest one being cuties, but I've always hated them even before that. But I do have some friends who have it, so we can maybe do a video chat.
Maybe, yeah. If it's on Netflix in the UK, then I can recommend. I suggest instead of waiting for the US one to catch up, get a good VPN. I recommend Surfshark. There's a few codes we can get to get a discount.
I've never subscribed to him. How's that?
I used to.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matthew. You eat penis. My ticks are in a mood tonight, and apparently eating did not quell that well. So I don't know if this is going to go very long because it's getting tiring, honestly. But I just want people to understand the mistake here was not him having a tick, and the mistake here was not people who are Black being hurt by the fact that was yelled in a public place. That's a valid thing to be hurt at. The problem was A, how BBC and BAFTA handled it, and B, how people have treated him after the fact, knowing he couldn't help it.
Yeah.
There's absolutely a valid reason for him to tick and for them to be offended. Those two can absolutely coexist. Fucker. You eat penis.
No, I think the two actors that they've all reached. No, we're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, it's just the people being butthurt for them who are honestly talking about this that are pissing me off. Stop saying he never apologized first, because he absolutely fucking
did. Yeah.
Just because you don't like his apology because you think he should be groveling on the ground saying it was his fault. Well, he didn't take blame for it. He literally shouldn't fucking take blame for it.
No.
Because it's not something we have blame in, and we're not supposed to internalize blame of ticks. It causes serious mental and physical issues for us.
And anybody else? Well, do we need to cover why he was there in the first place again? What the movie's about?
I have seen people argue everything from saying that we shouldn't be allowed to be in public if we might offend somebody to literally arguing to muzzle us like dogs. I've seen people say that they would assault a toddler if it ticked a word that offended them.
I'm not sure a muzzle would do any good. All I do is like, yeah, I'm still talking just as clearly as ever. You know.
And these same people saying this stuff, when you call them on and go, you just don't want to care about our voices. It's like, no, that's not it. You don't want to care about ours. You want us to grovel and beg for something we can't control, and you're still advocating for us to lose our human rights and dignity. I can only apologize so much for the things that happen because it's unhealthy, first of all, and because it's not going to change what happened, and it's not going to change your opinions. The people who hated him so much don't like his apology either because they don't believe it, because they don't care, because they don't they don't understand what penis juice, what Tourette's really is, and they don't care to understand what Tourette's really is. There are plenty of people in both the Tourette's and Black community who have understood the nuance and understood the situation and reached out to support each other, and those are the people we need to listen to. And by the way, I'm actually really glad we have the DMs on Threads, because I've actually gotten a lot of jewelry sales through Threads DMs and PayPal.
Remember, some of these people, that's the whole thing, is being offended on someone else's behalf.
And by the way, people, while I'm ticking away, I made this. It's like, and I'm not usually that much on Tourette's threads. On Threads, I'm usually more involved in the indigenous and autistic communities. But damned if I'm going to let all this shit keep happening.
Yeah. And God knows
that's where I am too. Fuck BBC.
Yeah, there's plenty of reason to be at the BBC. It's just one more on the stack. Okay.
That's
all right. Hold on. Okay, back in a bit here.
I am angry at the BBC. I am angry at BAFTA. I think that they did this to stoke attention, whether it was to distract from the corruption connected to their leadership or it was to stoke attention so they could get more ratings and money and drama. I don't fucking care. I absolutely believe they did this intentionally, and fuck the BBC. And fuck them hard. That's where I blame. I'm not blaming somebody from my community for a tick. Do you know how much ideation we have in our heads? Do you know how often we will sit here and blame ourselves for every tick and go, did I mean it? I'm a horrible person, and hate ourselves and self-harm because fucking hell, it hurts to say something that we are so opposed to. And it's tiring. It's so tiring. And I don't know. Fuck you. Yes, juice. I don't know how to get through to people, to get them to understand just how difficult this condition really is. I have broken bones. I have torn muscles. I have injured my neck. I have literally slipped trying to shave and cut off a fucking birthmark on my leg and by slicing a chunk of my leg off. I have tick slurs that were used against me. I have fuck you. You're a slut. I have literally been through hell with my ticks. Every person who goes, oh, you just want to say this stuff. You have no fucking idea. Or I wish I had Tourette so I could say bad things. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I mean this. No. Ignore Tiki saying fuck you. Listen to me. Fuck you. If you're going to bash on people with Tourette's and you're going to say that we're doing this stuff on purpose, I don't want my ticks to have the chance to say it. I want to say it loudly, proudly from my chest. Fuck you. I know I was trying to make this mostly polite, mostly scientific stream, but this part, we have been through so much in this community. We have been through so much drama from this condition. And I'm not going to listen to people sit here and try to make us feel like fuck dog shit for something we cannot control. They don't want to get it. And I'm not blaming anyone for this. I know so many really wonderful people in all walks of life who really understood the nuance of this and had compassion for everyone on every side. And I want to focus on those people. I want to focus on the people who understand that we don't mean this. The fact that this stream was barely a couple minutes in when we had to ban the first person for saying that this is an excuse condition that's made up. Wake the fuck up, people.
Yeah.
This condition is hell. It is painful and humiliating, and it is hell.
But in our streams, when have we ever had any excuses, about cussing? Come on. Can they go fuck yourself with a baseball bat? How about that? Okay.
Well, as I said, I got halfway through trying to say fuck yourself, and Tiki kept interrupting it, and I was like, shut up, Tiki, I want to say it sincerely. With my whole chest and my whole being. If you're a bigot to people with Tourette's, I hope you fuck a red hot rusty poker sideways up your ass. With my whole chest and intentional.
Yeah, that was deliberate.
Bitch. I will say any number of things in tics and vocally, but you can tell when I mean them versus when I don't. It's like when one of the people was going, it's proof he meant it. It's proof he meant it. He must be racist. I said, listen to me carefully. He said something involuntary that he could not control. You're a and I'm censoring that for stream. I said that with my whole chest, and I mean it. See the difference?
Don't worry about it. I'll be saying the very same word full-throated later on when I fire up Fortnite.
Yeah, but you can demonetize your own channel. I can demonetize mine. I'm really good at it. I
don't
never
get demonetized over that. It's usually when some songs play in the background. That's what they nail me on.
Which is really funny because that word is supposed to be demonetizable, and everybody else I know gets demonetized for it, including people who live in countries where that's a common word.
Yeah, Scotland, for instance, can almost be a term of endearment.
Oh, you sweet little. So everyone can understand. I do say offensive things, both intakes and out. Let's compare the difference in intentional versus unintentional. And I have a really good example for that. And I'm going to do this as well and as sweet as I can. And it's something from a few days ago that I said, but I think it's a really good example. Just the best. Thanks, Juice. Best ways to show exactly what I mean. And I'm going to put this up so people can understand the difference between my tics and my intention. Right here. So anybody who doesn't fully understand, let me put this up this way a second here. If I can actually get it there. It's not showing well. Let's see how well I can get this up on screen nice and big.
I still can't read that.
See what I said. Wow, buckle. I may be a bitch, but I'm a bitch with intention. If I'm ticking at you, that's not intentional. And quite frankly, treating it like it's intentional actually pisses me off because you're taking away my choice to choose to offend you. You want to be offended? How about I share with you the list of anti-native slurs that have been used on me over the years? Along with the list of ones trying to dehumanize me and say I'm not native for being albino. That. People going, you just don't understand what it's like to have dehumanizing slurs used against you. It's like, bitch, the fuck I don't. The fuck I don't. There's a wake-up call that needs to happen with what people are saying about Tourette's. You don't have to like what was said. You don't have to feel good about it. In fact, you have every right to feel offended at that word. What you don't have a right to do is ascribe a meaning or intention behind it, because that's not how Tourette's works. What you don't have a right to do is say that the fact that it hurt your feelings trumps a neurological condition that is unavoidable, and that people with that condition should lose rights or grovel and beg for forgiveness. That's where you lose it. Because my boobs are huge. Because the more you demonize us and claim that it's not real, the louder the backlash is going to be. I stand for everybody on all sides of this argument. If this hurt you, understand it hurt all of us. And we can stand together on this, because it's not one or the other. It's not one person's evil and one's innocent or something like that. That's not how this works. There were multiple victims to what happened that night, and John was one of them. He didn't want to say it. He couldn't help saying it, and it has been used to harm him. So what I'm asking for everyone on every side to do over the next weeks and months is, yes, listen to people in multiple communities. Listen to people who've been through racial abuse. Listen to people who've been through harassment and harm. Listen to all of us on both sides, as long as they're being respectful. Think with your head, not your heart, not your emotions, not your anger. Fuck you. You're a slut. And try to understand a perspective outside of your own. Use this as an opportunity to learn about a condition that is still heavily misunderstood and stigmatized. A condition where a lot of us with it, in fact, I don't know anybody with us who haven't been the victims of violence because of it. Be compassionate. And compassion cannot only go to one marginalized group, otherwise you've lost the fucking point. If your compassion only extends to this marginalized group, but this marginalized group, hey, it's okay, you get to be offended because somebody else was. That's not compassion. Think with your head, not your heart. Hear people and learn more about this condition. And don't gaslight people that they're trying to silence a certain voice or a certain people if they correct the science on this condition when people are spreading misinformation. When people are saying things like, I wish I had this. If you're tick thoughts or you're ticking your thoughts or stuff like that. If people say false scientific shit, people are not silencing you because of your race if they correct it. That's a no. We have an opportunity here as a people, as a community, as a globe, to learn to listen to each other and be more compassionate all around. And as cynical and as bitchy as I am, Bob, am I cynical and bitchy? Wow. Fuck you.
I'm not sure how to answer that.
As cynical and as bitchy as I am, and I'm really actually focusing and doing as much as trying to suppress right this moment as I am, not because I want to suppress, but because I want to get this out without a lot of interruptions.
Mm-hmm.
As cynical and as bitchy as I am, I genuinely think we can be a better people if we take the right lessons and learn to be more compassionate to each other. And when I stream on this and when I share on this, my experiences dealing with having Tourette's, this is about understanding and compassion. This is about learning to care about each other so we can become better people and not make anybody feel unsafe in society over stupid, petty shit. This right here. I joke now about a moment that happened between me and one of my best friends. I joke about it now.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't funny to me when it happened. It wasn't funny to me to sit there and tick a racist slur at him like 30 times in a row. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't mind. He didn't care.
Yeah.
He laughed and joked back, but I went to bed crying. Because he's my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. I didn't want to say that to him. I didn't want to tick that at him. I didn't want to be that person who said those words. And because it hurts us so much internally, we don't understand it ourselves. This is such a complex condition. It will always have nations of self-hate that come with it. Please, everyone out there, try to understand this. You know somebody with Tourette's. Every tick may be offensive to other people if it's coprolalia. Other people might very well be offended at the things that we tick and say, but we are as well. It hurts, and it makes us feel like nothing. And we have an incredibly high rate of self-ending, of self-harming, of all these things. No, those of us with Tourette's, we really fight with trying to make it ourselves work. We lose friendships, we lose communications, we lose people we care about. And we have a huge stigma and a huge weight on us at all times. And we don't want to be like this either. But we also don't want to feel ashamed of something we don't choose and don't control. We just want to exist. We just want to find common ground and common home with the people around us. I guess that's my biggest takeaway from this is the only people involved in this, we're not victims of this situation, are the reactionaries online and the fucking BAFTA BBC. Because those with ticks, and those without had every reason to find the situation disturbing, but they don't have a reason to dehumanize each other. And I'm probably going to end this stream on this because I am ticky tonight and getting tired and sitting up here and trying to be serious and not over tick and deal with tick attacks is exhausting. And I think I want to just curl up and do my crafts that I do that help me focus so I don't tick as much.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to thank the people who showed up to give support and to try to learn a bit more about things that they didn't understand. Because I know usually on this channel, I'm full of piss and vinegar. I'm snarky and sarcastic. And I don't really take this channel and these streams usually that seriously. But for one night, I wanted people to really try to understand things beyond just the everyday goof off shit. And we will be back to our standard Cards Against Humanity bullshit and other stuff. Because I can't do this every stream. I cannot. It takes so much out of me to be this raw and this open. And I don't plan on being this raw and this open very long. I prefer being the snarky, sarcastic, snide little bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be back to that in no time. Don't you worry, your pretty little heads.
I believe the stream's Sunday, right?
I will be on Phoenix's channel while he's doing his game stream, bullshitting tomorrow. I will do anime nights on Sunday, and I will intend to be as crude and as crass and as bullshit psycho normal self as possible. Thank you, Amit, because I prefer.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you all can have a really great night and come back when I'm in full snark mode,
And
because
share
that's
this
a lot
around.
more fun.
Come on.
And yes,
Share this around. Come on.
share it a bit. Try to get people to understand this doesn't have to be one against the other. This is a chance to come together on our mutual struggles. There's a huge intersectionality with this that people lost because they was so hyped up on one side or the other. Marginalized communities at each other's throat over shit that neither side should have had to be offended at. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. So let's come together, have a little fun, and stay out of trouble. And that especially goes for my followers, because I know you're all a bunch of fucking weirdos. And I love you all for that. Have a good night and stay out of trouble. Penis juice. Fucking drink slut. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you later.